and the water is rising. That's where I come in. I'm going to take you through some of the most gripping, true-life battles for survival. With my team of experts, we will show you how to make it out alive. I'm Creek Stewart, and I teach people how to survive as if my life depends on it. When the United States was founded, 95% of the people lived in the countryside. Today, more than 4 out of every 5 Americans live in a city or a suburb. All of us are accustomed to seeing storms, but none of us expect to ever have to survive on our own. That's what I call an urban myth, because large-scale disaster can strike at any time, and 98% of the time, the cause is a natural disaster. Hurricanes are one of the most devastating of those calamities. Just ask the people who have survived the severe winds and flooding that come with these major storms. I want to understand what they were going through, and so I've come to the Guardian Centers where search and rescue crews train for natural disasters that strike populated areas. The emphasis at the Guardian Center is on real-world scenarios. The training facilities include a flood basin that holds 500,000 gallons of water. It's the perfect laboratory to learn survival techniques that can save you during a deadly hurricane. The inspiration for this flood site is one of the most catastrophic storms to ever strike the U.S. Late August 2005, Hurricane Katrina churns through the Gulf of Mexico, and coastal towns from Alabama to Louisiana brace for impact. This neighborhood in Gulfport, Mississippi lies directly in Katrina's path. For many of the locals here, like Cheryl York and her husband Jerry, hurricanes are simply an accepted fact of life.
It's something that you had every summer. And sometimes they were bad, and sometimes they were not so bad. It was just a part of our life. It really was not a big deal.
But Katrina, which measures a stunning 400 miles across, seems different, conjuring up unpleasant memories of Camille in 1969. The strongest hurricane to ever hit the area.
Camille was a horrible windstorm. It totally destroyed everything in its path.
You combine an intense and large hurricane, and you have it come ashore in the shallow waters of the Gulf of Mexico, and you've got the recipe for an absolute disastrous storm surge scenario.
Despite predictions of widespread flooding, thousands of residents along the Gulf Coast decide to hunker down and ride Katrina out.
We have never evacuated. We've gone through every hurricane that's come through here since we've been married.
On August 29, 2005, Katrina strikes Mississippi at Bay St. Louis, less than 20 miles west of the York home in Gulfport. As the water starts rising, Cheryl starts videotaping.
This is the view from our front yard. It is just moments from coming into the house.
I know it's a horrible thing to say, but there's something so majestic about the wind and the rain. So it was kind of fascinating to watch and get on camera.
But during the hurricane, the water came in very slowly.
7:20 and the water's coming in. It's in the kitchen and coming in the bathrooms.
Came through the back door first, and then a few minutes later, it started coming through the front door.
Water is coming in everywhere, and believe it or not, this storm has not even started.
The sense of disbelief when we first saw the water in the yard, and as it got deeper, was like, I can't believe this is happening.
We are totally flooded. Everything's floating away.
The Yorks are in their home. The water level is quickly rising, and so is their level of panic. Ideally, all the preparations before any disaster are done months in advance. But if you find yourself in a pinch like the Yorks and you need to just kind of grab a few items, here are 4 items that can make a big difference that may not be on your radar. First, a disposable lighter for obvious reasons. You can light candles or start a fire or ignite a stove that can boil and purify water or cook food. For food, grab a jar of peanut butter. It's in a waterproof container. It's a quick open and eat meal, and it's packed with protein, carbohydrates, and calories. But you can last for 3 weeks without any food at all. Water is a totally different story. You can only last for 3 days without water. That's why grabbing a bottle of bleach is so important. Let's face it, hurricanes destroy water sources. They pollute them with sewage, floating debris, and even dead animals. But you can purify water with bleach, kill all microbiological organisms. And the ratio to do that is 2 drops of bleach per 1 liter of water. I'm gonna take this 3-liter container here, and I'm just gonna dip out some of this disgusting water. So that means I need 6 drops of bleach. To control the drops, pour a little bleach into the bottle cap, then soak it up with a piece of paper towel or a coffee filter. And that's going to act as a little wick, a dropper. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drops for 3 liters. Once this is sat 30 minutes, you're good to go, and this water is safe to drink.
The center of the eye of Katrina made final landfall right near the Louisiana-Mississippi border. So the Mississippi coast was essentially ground zero for the highest storm surges and Katrina's strongest winds.
And you can actually see the water lapping at the windows. We are totally surrounded by water.
As the water gets higher and higher, the Yorks have only one place to go, their attic crawl space.
Yeah, almost to the top of the door right there. Goes much further, our feet from the attic will be dangling in the water.
We weren't worried at all up until we were in the attic and the water rose to the attic. At that time, we got terrified.
There's no windows, there's no axe, there's no way out.
If you look straight down, the water's coming in big time.
You're a big deal to us, so we've got big deals for you. It's the Big Deal event back at Men's Warehouse. Now it's our lowest price of the season with up to 70% off. Sport coats starting at $79.99 and designer suits starting at $149.99. Only at Men's Warehouse.
Let's hide in the attic.
No, in the basement. Why can't we just get in the running car?
Are you crazy? Let's hide behind the chainsaws.
Smart. Yeah, okay.
If you're in a horror movie, you make poor decisions. That's what you do.
This was a good idea. Shh, I'm being quiet. Breathing on me.
If you want to save 15% or more on car insurance, you switch to Geico. It's what you do.
Oh, get your birdseed ready.
United Healthcare helps connect you to care whenever you need it.
So I'm not going to need stitches then?
No, just the antibiotic cream.
United Healthcare.
This is the age of expression. But shouldn't somebody be listening?
So, let's talk.
We're built for hearing what's important to you, one-to-one. Edward Jones, it's time for investing to feel individual.
Discover the rainbow. Taste the rainbow.
The big dogs. The old dogs. The deaf, blind, the different. Subaru presents the underdogs. These shelter dogs still love unconditionally. They're just hoping to find their human who does too. To help, Subaru...
Why do I keep falling asleep during the day? What's making me so tired? I kept asking myself these questions. It felt like I was more than tired. Then I was diagnosed with narcolepsy. There are 5 major symptoms. I waited too long to take action, but you don't have to. Visit morethantired.com now. Take the narcolepsy symptom screener and find a sleep specialist to share your results. Don't wait. Visit morethantired.com today.
My turn.
It shows up at the end of the year.
Coffee Mate seasonal flavors.
It really makes the season.
Oh, peppermint mocha?
It's related to nature.
Pumpkin spice? This is gonna be a while.
Yeah.
Try Coffee Mate seasonal flavors. Coffee's perfect holiday mate.
Join Liana Brackett.
And here we go.
Paul Goodlow.
If you like that, I got more on the way.
And Dr. Greg Postel. Weekend mornings starting at 9 on Weekend Recharge.
Since well before daybreak on August 29, 2005, Cheryl and Jerry York of Gulfport, Mississippi have been buffeted by the onslaught of Hurricane Katrina. As the rising storm surge begins to engulf their house, Jerry and Cheryl take refuge in the attic.
The water's coming in big time. Jerry never thought we'd be up here. Stuff floating, you hear these loud bangs and you think, oh my God, what is that? It's a refrigerator, it's the bookshelves, it's the china cabinets. The only things we might save are the things floating on top of the mattresses. The mattresses are acting like a little raft.
It never dawned on us that we would have 8 feet of water. We kept expecting the water to stop rising.
My wife is a very religious woman, and when we got up there in the attic, well, she did some praying, and I helped her a little bit once in a while.
The Yorks have made sure to take at least a few essentials with them to the crawl space.
We brought with us cooler, our medicine. We put our photo albums up here in my purse with our money and IDs.
Inexplicably, they also save at least one non-essential item.
As the water's rising and you're not thinking very straight, you do things like picking up your video rentals, and your thought is, the rental is due tomorrow and I don't want a late fee.
It can be incredibly difficult to make good decisions or even think straight in the midst of a large-scale disaster. In this situation, this house isn't the only thing that's flooding. Your mind and your body are flooding with emotions and adrenaline. What the Yorks need now more than anything is something that everyone should build, and that's a bug-out bag. But the time to build a bug-out bag isn't in the midst of a large-scale disaster. It's long before the disaster strikes. Everyone's bug-out bag is going to be a little bit different because everyone has different needs. They live in different areas that are prone to different disasters. But in general, everyone's bag should contain at least 5 different categories. One of the best survival shelters for a bug-out bag is a lightweight backpacking tent like this one right here. I recommend carrying at least 2 liters of fresh drinking water in your bug-out bag. One of those liters in a metal container so that you can boil and purify more water. When it comes to food, high-calorie granola bars are the way to go. These are really simple, open-and-eat meals that require no energy or water to prepare. The best fire tinder available, you can make at home and it costs almost nothing. It's simply cotton balls soaked in petroleum jelly. One of these petroleum jelly soaked cotton balls is going to burn upwards of 5 minutes when I hit it with a spark from this ferro rod. One of your most important survival hand tools is a good fixed blade knife, but there's also tools designed specifically for disaster scenarios like this HRT, the Handy Rescue Tool. It's got a chopping blade, a pry bar, a hammer, and even a notch for shutting off your gas when you evacuate. If I were in the position the Yorks were in, this tool would have been perfect. Only after the Yorks are in the crawl space do they realize that if the water gets much higher, they'll be trapped.
See that little crook in that metal right there? When the water got up there, it was almost in the attic with us. So I panicked and felt like if the water was going to come up anymore, I needed to have a plan B.
I told Jerry we needed a way to get out. He said, there's an air vent over on this end.
That's when she got terrified and wanted me to knock out the vent in the attic.
He shimmied over there on his belly, and he had a piece of lumber, and he hit it and hit it and hit it, and finally the vent popped out.
But having the proper tool available would have given the Yorks a much better option. If If you live in an area that's prone to flooding, it's a good idea to keep an axe or a handy rescue tool in your attic. You never know when you might have to chop your way out. One thing's for sure, if you're trapped in an attic and this water's rising, it's going to be a really good thing to see daylight. That was not easy. Being on a roof certainly isn't ideal in a hurricane, but it's sure a whole lot better than being underwater. But if you had a good bug out bag like this one, you can survive here for days until rescue comes. With no way to break through the roof, the York's only escape route is the small vent window. But that will force them to swim for the closest tree through swirling floodwaters, which is a big problem for Jerry.
I hadn't been in a pool in years and hadn't been swimming for a year, so I don't know if I could made it over there or not.
When Jerry said, I don't know if I can swim good enough to get out there, that was the moment that it was like, this is something we might not come back from.
There are women who know when little leaks show up, you don't go home, you go viral. Poise Ultra Thin Pads are 5 times drier than the leading Always Period pad, so you can stay you and stay amazing. Poise, the #1 brand for light bladder leaks.
There's something out there for you and me, and the American road is calling, so what's it gonna be? Hey, it's an amazing day, traveling our own highway. No matter where it leads us, we can smile, 'cause it's leaning in the miles.
If you just want a slice of pizza, you don't buy the whole pie. So if you don't use your cell phone that much, why pay for more than you need? For as low as $20 a month, you can get talk, text, and data from Consumer Cellular with no contract and connections on the nation's largest wireless networks. You'll also receive award-winning support. Consumer Cellular is receiving